Deslandra has overplayed her hand. The Wood Elf is too popular in Valenwood to attack publicly, but thanks to her continued interference with your efforts, you've been able to trace her operations to a base in an immature grot oak tree she and her followers have dubbed Cursebreaker's Copse. Judging by the various missives and shipments coming in and out of this area, you believe this is Deslandra's primary headquarters, the location where she plans all of her exploits across the rest of the continent. You hope to launch a surprise assault on the wooded hideaway, although you're sure Deslandra is heavily protected. Deslandra may be a local hero, but you've tried to do some good in Valenwood as you've wandered its byways and Horver trails. Like Deslandra herself, the soldiers of the Void joined this cause because they wanted to do the right thing. Perhaps your track record will convince one or two of them to join your side. Now, for the end game, there is a lot of setup instructions and a lot of different things to go over, so we're just going to hit the highlights so we can keep moving and explain things as we go along. First of all, we've got the Cursebreaker's Copse dungeon set up, but only partially. You see there's also an antechamber and inner sanctum, but those do not start out set up. The instructions are going to tell you when you attach those areas. As part of setup, we're going to determine how many resistance keywords that we've collected as a party. So we had 4 before we got here. We're playing on adept, so we get +2 from that. And then it tells you a whole bunch of other ways that you can gain resistance. And we have done some of that in order to gain 2 more resistance tokens. And we've got our pile up here by the day counter. And we have a total of 8 right now. We also have our day dial set to 1, but the day dial is going to be tracking the security level instead of the current day. And our quest objective is to make it to the end of a round in which any companion is occupying Hex B. And then we immediately proceed to the next step without ending the encounter. And you can see that Hex B is a spot on the antechamber adjacent to the inner sanctum. In order to get out the antechamber, we need to end a round with no caches remaining, and we'll also be summoning out Big Bad BotSE as well as some additional enemies. Caches won't be removed after unsuccessful lockpick checks, but the top item card will still be discarded, and then whenever a cache is successfully lockpicked, that adventurer gains the item and a Forest Blight card. Now for the security level, if it is at 3, we resolve the round counter and fatigue rounds as normal. If it is less than 3, then each time the round counter increases, we increase it an additional number of times equal to the number of caches in play. And when it increases to fatigue rounds, each adventurer gains 1 over fatigue. Then we reset it to 1 and gain a resistance token and increase the security level by 1. At the end of any turn in which at least one adventurer is adjacent to an enemy, adventurers may spend a number of resistance tokens depending on the enemy's level as outlined below in order to make a social check, which is going to be 8 for us, for any number of adjacent enemies. If successful, the adjacent enemy becomes a companion controlled by the party. If unsuccessful, do not spend the resistance tokens. And then the number of resistance tokens are as follows: 1 for a level 1, 2 for a level 5, 5 for a level 10, and 6 for a level 20. So if you remember, we have 8 tokens right now, so we're definitely going to be trying to use 6 of these tokens to get a level 20 early on to help us out, because we have 6 level 20 enemies on the board, a level 10, and a level 5. Due to the keywords we gained, we also have a couple different modifiers. So we gained Disrupt Operation. We ruined Deslandra's attempt to learn the secrets of Falinesti demoralizing her soldiers. So each time an adventurer defeats a non-quest enemy, the party gains 1 resistance token. That is huge. That's going to let us get a level 20 enemy early, and then hopefully another one later on as we start defeating these enemies. We also have Gain Notoriety. Your efforts to bolster your reputation have made Deslandra's lieutenants afraid to confront you. Quest enemies are considered to be level 20 enemies. Additionally, choose one of the following options during setup. So we can either gain 4 resistance tokens, or social checks to convert enemies into companions are automatically successful for the entire session. And I think we are going to choose that one because we don't want to have to spend tenacity every time. We only have the authority die that'll help us during social checks, but we want to use those to get tenacity on our adventurers early, so we can start using our class abilities to really help us take care of these level 20 enemies. And lastly, we also have Speak for the Trees. Your kindness to nature does not go unreciprocated. Each time an adventurer gains a Forest Blight card, they may freely choose which card to gain. All right, so with that, that should be everything we need to know to get started. Our first adventure is going to be the Khajiit. Our stamina is 4, so we are going to move to that legendary chest in the middle, and we will use our cut purse to automatically succeed that, which gained us a sustaining corset. So this is a 5 tenacity enduring accessory, and whenever you would expend a potion or discard a consumable, you may choose to discard another item from your pack instead. And so yeah, I think this is just going to go into our pack. This doesn't really have a whole lot of use for us here. And we get to move 5 spaces after using Cut Purse, so we're going to go straight south here, up against the Dremora. We are going to engage the Dremora with 3 Shield Discipline and a Heroic Slash. So we'll go ahead and resolve all of our Shield Discipline die. That's going to be a total of 4 damage, and those will go into our active slots. And then we'll exhaust our Heroic Slash to gain 1 Tenacity. 4 damage up against the 2 armor puts it down to 7 HP. We're then going to use that 1 tenacity that we had just gained to use our Ornate Scabbard's ability to perform an additional engage without gaining a light fatigue, and this has to be a one-handed engage, which we do. We'll only be rolling 3 die for this engage. We'll use our 2 combat die and our shield charge. We rolled 2 damage on our combat skill die, and we rolled the icon on the shield charge that lets us recover any number of shield discipline die from our cooldown track or active slots and deal 1 damage for each of those that we recovered this way. And I'm not too worried about taking damage right now since we have the Imgakin Monkey that can take up to 6 damage for us at the moment. So I think we are going to recover all of our shield discipline die to deal 3 damage with that for a total of 5. So 5 damage with 2 armor means it takes 3 and goes down to 4 HP. And that was a pretty good start for our Khajiit. So we're going to go on to the Wood Elf. For the Wood Elf's turn, we're going to engage the Dremora using a combat skill die, 2 snipe die, and our scatter shot. We're using our Bow of the Deadlands to increase our range by 4, so if we do hit that scatter shot, we'll also be able to end up targeting either like the Nord Pyromancer or even the Frost Atronach. Okay, so we got 3 damage, 2 snipes hit means we get to ignore 2 defense, and scatter shot did trigger. We ignore both of the Dremora's defense, putting it down to 1 HP. I think we'll get the most use out of that scatter shot by also targeting the Nord Pyromancer. It does have native and we are not adjacent, so its defense does go up to 3, but our snipes still reduce that back down to 1, so it does take 2 damage going down to 6 HP. We will then choose to take a light fatigue to make another engage against the Dremora. But before that, I forgot about our Archer passive. I thought everything had at least 2 defense here, but the level 5 Breton Marauder only has 1, so we can hit it for 2, which will ping it for 1 and take it down to 5 HP. And for our second engage, we'll be rolling our acrobatic skill die, our combat skill die, another snipe, and our Vine Dusk training. Okay, well, that was a crazy roll for us. We did get 2 on a snipe die, which means we get to ignore 1 defense, leaving it at 1, and then it only has 1 HP, so that actually will kill the Dremora. So kind of an efficient turn for us then, because then we also just get to gain 3 tenacity. And we will take that last HP as our 9th resistance token. And with that, we can go to our Breton. Our Breton will start out by using the Glyph of Weakening in order to enchant the level 10 Scamps, and it will reduce their defense and combat stat by 1. And remember that we do have the Glyph of Magicka enchanting the Breton, so our Magicka skill is at 6 right now. So not only does that give us a range of 6 with our Magicka die, but we're rolling a ton as well. So we're going to be rolling our 2 Force Shocks, our Power Stone, our Bound Armaments, our Expert Summoner, and our Spell Warding. And we're going to target the Nord Pyromancer. Because we are using our Oak Lightning Staff, we do get a single reroll. And I think we're going to try to get our Power Stone to roll on one of its sides. Okay, and we still get the tenacity from that. So we will start by putting our Bound Armament into our active slot. We also rolled really well on our Spell Warding, so that'll go to our active slot as well. And we've got a total of 6 damage with our Force Shocks, but we will have to also deal 1 true damage to an Adventurer. And since our Wood Elf is usually in the back not really getting damaged, I think I'll put 1 damage onto the Wood Elf. 6 damage to the Pyromancer with 2 armor, that means 4 damage goes through, and that will leave it at 2 HP remaining. 6 damage going to the Pyromancer with 2 armor means 4 damage goes through and leaves it at 2 HP. Sorry, it has native, so its defense was 1 higher, meaning it'll stay at 3 HP. And then we'll gain our 2 tenacity. And at the end of the Breton's turn, we are going to go ahead and exhaust our bound armaments to have our Nord attack the Scamps with its 3 available combat skill die. Because of the Glyph of Weakening, it only has 1 defense, and we'll use our Void Steel Axe to ignore that 1 defense. So whatever we roll here is the damage we will deal. And unfortunately, we did only get 1 there, but we also gained 2 tenacity, which gets us close to putting our Dragon Blood online with the Dragon Knight, which is really good. And we do need to remember that we do have the Glyph of Crushing on the Nord, so we are able to change our combat skill die to the 1 result before we resolve them. But I was okay with getting that tenacity there because I want to get to Dragon Blood, and then I'll start converting after that. And now it is the Nord's turn, and we're going to see if we can't finish what we started and attack the Scamps again. For this engage, we'll be rolling 2 Wrecking Blows, an Onslaught, and a Constitution. We're using our Void Steel Axe to again negate its 1 defense. And all right, we'll go ahead and resolve both of our Wrecking Blows for a total of 5 damage, and we're going to gain 2 Light Fatigue. So I'll resolve the 2 damage first, and then I'll get the 2 Light Fatigue and resolve the 3 damage. I don't want to drain the Onslaught this early, so I'm just going to put that into our cooldown and exhaust it without using it. And then I'll resolve our Constitution, which will go to the back of our cooldown track, so it'll be active for longer. So 5 damage with no defense puts it down to 1 HP. And I was really hoping we'd get more damage done on that bound armaments attack, but we will go ahead and gain a light fatigue to perform a second engage. But this time, we're going to switch into defensive mode. And we're going to use our barbaric hickory shield so we get to deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy for each combat skill die that we place into an active slot disengage. And we're also going to go ahead and roll our other constitution die. So it is down to 1 HP. So as long as we roll 2 hits on the combat skill die, we'll be able to kill the scamps. And there we go. We're going to get to place all 3 of our combat skill die into our defensive slots, which means 3 damage goes to the scamps, and that will defeat them. I was hoping that we'd roll a tenacity on one of those, but that is what it is. We will also get our constitution at the back of our cooldown track, and we will once again take that last HP and use it as our 10th resistance token. And now, before I continue my turn with the Nord, I did just notice that I forgot something. I needed to draw a Force Blight card whenever I opened that cache with the Khajiit. So I'm going to draw this card and hope that it doesn't affect too much. All right, so this card occupies a ready slot but is not considered an item, cannot be discarded unless explicitly stated. And when it is discarded, place it on the bottom of the Forest Blight deck. Or, well, I guess I have Friend of the Trees or Speak with the Trees, whatever that was, so I can actually look through the deck and then choose one. So let's see what we have. And this is going to be a pretty easy choice because we do not even use overland movement during this stage of the game. So I'm easily just going to be able to put this into a ready slot. That does mean that I am going to have to discard one of the things that we do have until I can get rid of this. But it says that you can spend party size plus 1 tenacity to discard this card. So it will cost us 5. That is, ouch. That is a lot. So for now, I think we'll just put our Drada's Withering Edge into the pack. I'm not sure that I want to be gaining Overteed this early into the combat anyways. And now back to the Nord. I think we are just going to leave the Nord right where he's at. And at the end of his turn, we are going to use 6 of our resistance tokens, putting us down to 4 in order to recruit this Storm Atronach. We automatically succeed because that's the option we took for gain notoriety. And I'll just use one of our extra pegs to show that he is a companion now. Now our newly converted companion gets its turn, and it can target 2 enemies at a range of 5. That lets it hit both the giant up north and the Nord Pyromancer down south, and we get to roll 4 enemy combat die for this attack. Wow, that was a great roll. That's a total of 6 damage right there. So that will actually take out the Nord Pyromancer. Perfect. With 2 defense, well, even with 3 defense because of native, 3 damage is enough to take it out. And then 3 damage to the giant puts it down to 7, and we don't have to worry about Chillblain or Shatter. And now we don't gain the resistance token for defeating the Pyromancer because the Storm Atronach is not an adventurer. And I think that's a perfectly okay trade for that to not get a turn to use its Siphon and attack our Khajiit. Now we'll start with the enemy turns. We'll do the easy one first. We'll just move that giant, who is a melee unit, 2 spaces forward. Next, we'll have the Harpy activate, who's going to be attacking the Storm Atronach for 3 enemy die. And that is not going to be enough to get through the Storm Atronach's defense. Next, the Frost Atronach is going to be able to attack both our Wood Elf and our Breton with a range of 6. It's rolling 3 enemy combat die. And okay, it did hit with all 3, so that's going to be 3 damage each to the Wood Elf and the Breton. And now our Wood Elf is just going to take the 3 damage, going down to 2. Then our Breton will lower our spell warding down to 3. That will prevent 1 damage, meaning we take 2, going to 3 HP. And we'll recover our bound armaments. It's now time for the end of the round. We still have 4 caches remaining, means our round is going to be increased by 5, which immediately puts us at the fatigue rounds, meaning we're going to reset back to 1, and everybody is going to gain an over fatigue, as well as 1 more resistance token, putting us up to 5. Our security level will also reach 2. And now we are back to the top of the turn order with the Khajiit. We're going to recover all of our die and cooldown, except for our over fatigue. Oh, let's not forget about our Breton Marauder here either. All right, I guess we will move him forward 1 up here to engage the Storm Atronach. He's got to roll really well here to get through that defense. And yeah, that's not going to do it. So now I think our Khajiit's going to come up and just try to take this little guy out of his misery. I don't want to go for those caches with the Khajiit just because I don't want only the Khajiit to fill up on Forest Blight cards just yet. I think we can still get some more use out of the cards we have equipped before we try to do that. So, engaging the Breton Marauder, we're going to use 3 Shield Discipline and Heroic Slash. And so we'll start by resolving the 3 damage we get with our Shield Discipline and put them into our active slot. Then our Heroic Slash deals 2 for each Shield Discipline in our active slot, so that's another 4. 4 plus 3, we're at 7 right now. Breton Marauder does have dodge, meaning because we rolled a tenacity with that skill die, that's going to lower it down to 6. But even with 1 defense and 5 HP, 6 is exactly the amount we need. So we'll go ahead and resolve all of our damage and gain 1 tenacity. And now we are back up to 6 resistance tokens, so we can get another level 20 enemy at some point. And now for our Wood Elf's turn. We don't have any targets that can be damaged by our passive with the archer, so we're just going to go ahead and move south 4 spaces. Now for our Wood Elf's turn, we're going to go ahead and recover 4 die. And with our Wood Elf, we're going to start by spending 2 of our tenacity for our Hawkeye ability. That is going to let us heal for HP equal to the number of enemies within our range, which is 3, so we're going to go back up to 5 HP. We are then going to spend our turn doing a double move to get to these caches down in the south. And we'll go ahead and attempt to lockpick the first one. We have 4 tries for a 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I will go ahead and start by gaining a light fatigue in order to change this 2 into a 1. So now we just need to get our 2, 3, 4 on 3 rolls. And we already have our 4 here, so we just need a 2 and a 3. All right, we still have 2 rolls. Okay, that was really bad. This is going to be our last roll. Okay, we did get our 3. Now, do we want to take 3 light fatigue in order to get this 2? Maybe this is a bad decision, but we've basically removed the archer for at least a couple turns, so we're going to have a couple turns here to gain everything back and get through this fatigue. So we gain 3 more light fatigue and succeed on that check. And we gain Worm Cult Sabatons. We still have 2 more points of movement, so we are going to attempt another lockpick here. But we need to grab our Force Blight from that last check real quick. And once again, being able to choose these is really strong right now, it seems, because we can just take the ones that don't do anything for us right now. So 1 fewer town actions is not going to affect us right now. And the Wood Elf had an available ready slot, so we don't have to discard anything. And now let's go ahead and try for that second lockpick. Okay, now we need a 6, 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm realizing that I grabbed a new legendary instead of flipping the one I placed down here, so let's actually see what we got. We got a Psychic Domino Pig Darlin. At the start of a round, you may add 1 HP chip to this pet to decrease the round counter by 1. Once there are 5 chips, you can discard it. Okay, I actually really like that. But since I know I'm getting that blight anyways, I am going to just stick this in the pack, and I'm just going to put the Sabatons into the back of the deck. So, now let's try for our 6, 1, 2, 3. And all right, with this roll, I think I am going to take a light fatigue to make our 5 a 6. We've got a whole trail of fatigue here on the Wood Elf cooldown track. But I do have the 2 and the 3, so I could have 3 rolls to try to get a 1, And I think I will keep the 2 and 3 because I only have 1 light fatigue space left. So even if I did change that 2 to a 1 or that 3 to a 2 and try to roll the other ones, I wouldn't be able to change it. So my odds are still the same. So I think I should just keep those and roll those. So I have a 1 in 3 chance. A 2 or a 1 will let me succeed here. Okay, we need a 2 or a 1. We've got 2 more rolls. That won't do it. Last roll. Okay, we ended up rolling a 2 there, so we will fill up our cooldown track. 1 more light fatigue to change this into a 1 and succeed. So for succeeding, we are going to gain, okay, the Maelstrom's Dagger. If you only roll combat skill dice for this engage, gain 2 tenacity and overtax to ignore enemy skills, elusive and stalwart on non-quest enemies for this engage. That's really cool. That could be good for our Khajiit. We will go ahead and throw that into our pack. And we'll choose another Forest Blight card to gain, and we'll get the one that is rooted. So in battle, anytime you would move, we reduce that movement by 1. And so we have a 4 movement with our 4 stamina, so 3 movement is still pretty good for our Wood Elf, who also has the Acrobat to potentially get more. So I think that's a good one to put on them. And our ready slots are full, so we're actually going to have to discard the Barnacleback Coral Crab. And with our last point of movement remaining, we will just scoop 1 more back. And now we have our Breton's turn. We'll go ahead and recover our die. We only have the over fatigue in our cooldown track now. And for our Breton's engage, we're going to target the Frost Atronach. And we've got our Hasty Prayer, Expert Summoner, our 2 Force Shocks, Power Stone, and Bound Armaments. Let's see what we roll. Okay, that was really good for us as well. We do get 1 reroll with our staff, so I think we will try for a higher number on Expert Summoner. And if we don't get that, we can use our Power Stone to make that something else if we'd like. Okay, we got the 1 again. So let's actually start by resolving our Power Stone here. And we're going to change this into the 4 damage and then 1 true damage to an Adventurer side. Then we'll put our Expert Summoner and our Bound Armaments into our active slots. We have a total of 8 damage going to the Frost Atronach. It has native Ironbark, so it's at 3 defense, meaning 5 damage goes through, leaving it at 2 HP. And then I'll just deal 1 damage each to the Khajiit and the Nord, but that's not going to matter after this because we got Hasty Prayer and we're able to heal the entire party for 2. So everybody goes back up to full health. And lastly, we'll move the Breton 2 spaces into a little more defensive position. Now we have our Nord's turn. I'll start by moving 4 to engage with the Frost Atronach. I will use the Void Steel Axe to ignore one of those defense and just use 2 of the Wrecking Blows that we just recovered. So unfortunately, it does still have 1 defense. We only did 2 damage there, so that means it's only going to take 1 damage, leaving it at 1 HP. But we do at least gain our 1 tenacity, putting us at 3, so our Dragon Blood is online for all adventurers. And that will be everything for our Nord. So we will go to our companion turn with the Storm Atronach. We have our Expert Summoner at level 1, so that means we'll be rolling 5 enemy die for this attack. We can still target 2 enemies. We can't target the Harpy because it's elusive, so both of these are going to go towards the Frost Atronach and the Giant. And this one's cocked. We'll get a reroll there. Okay, so we hit on all 5 die for 1, so that will definitely take out the Frost Atronach and 2 armor on the Giant. It means it takes 3 damage, going down to 4. We will then have our Frost Atronach move 2 places here, so it will be able to attack the Harpy next turn. But now the enemies are going to get a go. We've got 2 of them here. We'll start with the Giant. It's adjacent to the Storm Atronach, so it will attack it for 3. And there we go, 3 damage, but we have 3 defense, so nothing goes through. And now the Harpy will also attack for 3. And that is not going to get through. We then go to the next round, and we have 2 caches still on the board, so that means we're getting +3 to the round counter, and it will go to 4. Then it's back to the Khajiit. At the start of the Khajiit's turn, we are going to do an engage action with our authority die and roll one of these for the Breton. And the Breton gets +2 tenacity, putting it at 4. Then we're just going to move 1 space to end adjacent to the Harpy, just in case our Frost Atronach isn't going to be able to solely take it out on its own this turn, which it likely won't be able to. And we'll end our turn. So now we go to the Wood Elf, and we'll move 3. We have the -1 because of our Forest Blight card. And we'll also choose to go ahead and move 1 more space for the same reason, to help out with the Harpy next turn if we need to. And now we'll go to the Breton. For the Breton's turn, we're just going to roll these 3 die here, our Power Stone, our Summon die, and a Purge die. And there we go. We'll put our Purge die in our active slot. And we'll use our Power Stone. We've already got kind of a defensive companion. Let's go with a more aggressive one and get out our Clan Fear. Then we will end the Breton's turn and go to the Nord. And we're going to use the Nord to get these last caches. So let's go ahead and start and get that North one. And for this one, we need a 6-1-6-2. Okay, we did not get anything we need. I don't think that's good enough for us to take Light Fatigue to get to 6, so let's go ahead and re-roll. We've got 3 more tries. And there we go. That is a lot better. We will take 2 Light Fatigue here to turn both of these into a 6. Meaning we've unlocked it, and we're going to keep the 6 and the 1 for the other ones, and we just need to roll a 2 on 2 tries. And a 6 is really far off from where we want to be. Surely we can get it lower than that. Okay, just 1 lower. I think we still want to get this done, so we will take 3 more Light Fatigue to make this a 2. And that gets us a High Elf Girdle. We place 1 available combat skill die in an active slot set at 1, and we can overtax it to place any number of combat skill dice from your cooldown track in an active slot set at 1. That's actually pretty cool, but we're just going to go ahead and, well, actually, we can't throw that in the pack. Our pack is full, so we have to equip this, but then we are going to take a Forest Blight card. And we're going to take the 1 for Encrusted Bark. Your non-enduring class abilities cost 1 additional tenacity to trigger. So we want to keep our Dragon Blood online, so we're probably not going to use the other ones. So this seems like the best one for our Nord, and we're going to have to discard the High Elf Girdle that we just drew. Pretty cool, but we have the other things that we need for our build right now. And we still have 2 points of movement remaining, so let's go ahead and go to this other legendary cache. And now we need a 2-3-1-4. Wow, we got the 3-1-4. So I think what we want to do is turn this 3 into a 2 for 1 Light Fatigue. We'll keep the 1 and a 4, and we need to roll a 3. We have 3 more tries. A 6, we can do better than that. 2 more tries. A 5, I think we can still do better than that. Here we go, last try here. There we go. We did end up getting it on the last roll. And now we have the Signet of the Worm Ring. Discard this item before rolling during an engage. All damage dealt to your target this engage is also dealt to all other targetable enemies. That is an insane item that unfortunately we're not going to be able to take advantage of. We are just going to have to discard this. We don't have any room in our pouch, and gain another Blight card. And now I think we'll take Grasping Vines. Whenever we change battle forms, we gain 1 Light Fatigue. Not too bad for our Nord. We can get rid of fatigue in different ways. And with that being said, I think we are going to go ahead and discard our Barbaric Hickory Shield. And we have 1 more point of movement that we'll be using to get back here. And that will be the end of our Adventurer's turn. So now we go to our companions. We will start with the Storm Atronach. We're going to be able to roll 4 combat die against both the Harpy and the Giant. And okay, not too bad. A total of 4. We are adjacent to the Harpy, so it doesn't get that extra defense, and will deal 1 damage, taking it down to 5. And then 4 damage to the Giant. 2 defense means it takes another 2 damage, going down to 2 HP. And now our Clan Fear will get to attack. It only rolls 2 combat die, but if we roll any misses, we do get to roll again. So hopefully we can get a 2 out of this. Well, really, we would need both of these to be 2 to defeat the Giant, but here we go. Here's wishing. Okay, that is actually going to do no damage to the Giant. And now the Harpy is going to go. It's going to attack all of our weakest units. So the Khajiit is at 5. That is the weakest. And then we have a 7 and a 6 with our Storm Atronach and our Wood Elf. So we're going to do 3 die at the Khajiit. And for 2 damage, we do have a Shield Discipline for a value of 2 that we will use to block that. And now our Giant will attack the Storm Atronach for 3 again. And that is not enough to break through the defense. That's going to be the end of the round. So no more caches on the field. It means our round counter only goes up once to 5. And now we get to place the Antechamber. And now we've got out the antechamber with Big Bad BotSE, as well as half of our enemy pool. We had 21, so 21 times 4 divided by 2 is 42. So we've got two 20 level enemies and two level 1 enemies. But now we have Hex B revealed, so if we can get a companion there, we'll be able to move on to the next step. We also still have plenty of resistance tokens to be able to use to convert a level 20, and Big Bad BotSE is considered a quest enemy, but also a level 20 enemy, thanks to one of those keywords that we got. Now for our Khajiit's turn, the first thing we want to try to do is hit this Harpy. So we are going to use to shield discipline a shield charge and a combat skill die. Okay, and we got saved there with rolling the shield charge. That lets us deal 1 damage for each one hand and shield die that we have, and we do have a total of 5. So that's going to be 5 with that, and then another 1 with the shield discipline for a total of 6. It does have 3 defense, so it will take 3 damage, going to 2 HP remaining. And we will gain that 2 tenacity, putting us up to 3. And lastly, we'll move the Khajiit over next to Big Bad BotSE, and at the end of our turn, we will choose to spend 6 of our resistance tokens to convert Big Bad BotSE onto our side. And that will be it for the Khajiit, so we are on to the Wood Elf. We actually do have some enemies that we can ping with our Archer ability now, so we're actually going to go ahead and we will hit the Mud Crab for 1. We will engage the Harpy, rolling 3 Snipe Die and a Vine Dust Training. We hit with 2 Snipe Die, so we ignore 2 defense. It only has 1 defense. 2 damage means that it only does take 1, though, going down to 1 remaining HP. Our Vine Dust Training will go into the active slot, and we will gain 1 tenacity, going to 2. We are then going to spend our 2 tenacity to use Lethal Arrow. We get to roll 2 enemy combat die against a targetable enemy, and roll damage is true damage, so we're going to see as long as we can get 1 hit on an enemy die, we'll defeat the Harpy. And there we go, we got it. And that will get us 1 more resistance token to start piling that back up. And because of Dragon Blood, we can either get rid of 2 life fatigue or 1 over fatigue, and we will choose our over fatigue with the Wood Elf. Then we'll move up just 1 space just to make a path in case someone else wants to come in. And now it's our Breton's turn. For our Breton, we will move 2 spaces, and then we're going to engage the Breton Archmage. We do not want to deal with Necromancy. We've got some strong enemies out there that we do not want to come back. So we'll be rolling 2 Force Shock, our Expert Summoner, and Power Stone. And with our Oak Lightning Staff, we will choose a reroll on our Power Stone. Okay, so we did get the 1 change if we want it. And I think the best case scenario for us is going to be to convert one of these into more damage. So we have a total of 6 damage going at the Archmage with 2 defense. That means it takes 4, going down to 2 HP. We will deal 1 damage to the Nord, and we'll gain 1 tenacity, which will put us at 5. And now going to the Nord, we're just going to move 4 down. And I don't want to attack the Giant because I don't want to have to get rid of my Void Steel Axe. So I'm going to let our companions handle that and end my turn with the Nord. Well, I think this is actually a good turn to go ahead and roll both of our Constitution, just in case. And we'll put both of those into our cooldown. And now it goes to our companion's turn. We will start with the Storm Atronach, which will be able to hit the Giant as well as the Breton Archmage. So just a single hit on each of these will defeat both of these enemies. And we got it. All right, so that defeats both the Giant and the Archmage. Then we'll go ahead and have our Clan Fear attack the Horver for 2. And a cocked die will reroll that. All right, so 2 damage to the Horver leaves it at 4 HP. Then we will have Big Bad BotSE attack it, trying to get it down to 1 HP for 3 die. And all right, clearly a little bit reluctant to join us and fight his one-time friends, so that was a big miss there. And now the Hajmoda is going to attack Big Bad BotSE. And for 2, that means Big Bad BotSE will take just 1 and go to 14 HP. Now the Horver attacks BotSE for 1, which doesn't get through, and the Mud Crab will attack the Khajiit for 1, which we will be able to block with our last shield discipline. And now that's the end of the round, so increasing the round by 1 will put us at over fatigue, so that's going to reset back to 1. Everybody's going to gain an over fatigue. We will gain 1 resistance token and increase the security level to 3. And now that we've reached level 3 security, the rounds are going to resolve as normal. For the Khajiit's turn, we're going to engage the Horver with 2 Shield Discipline and Heroic Slash. And alright, we got 2 damage with the Shield Discipline, taking it down to 2 HP. And then those will go in the active slot. Then we will gain 1 Tenacity, going to 4. Oh, I guess I did have 1 slot available, so let's actually see if I can get that 1 damage to put it in divert range with our combat skill die. Okay, we did. We didn't defeat it because it can't be defeated with divert, but it does go down to 1. And now it can be defeated. And then what we're actually going to do here is we are going to spend 1 resistance token to bring the Horver on board to our team. And you'll see the reason why we did that at the end of this round. But that will be all for the Khajiit. And it's on to the Wood Elf. At the start of the turn, we'll ping the Mud Crab again for 1. And we are going to use our Vine Dust training to get back all 3 of our snipe die. And now we're going to engage the Hajmoda. And we'll be using 3 snipe die and a combat skill die. And awesome, we hit with all of our snipe die, so we get to ignore all 3 defense. And I think I am realizing now that I've been playing Hajmoda wrong, so I need to overtax Bow of the Deadlands here, which will let me add 2 enemy combat die to the attack, so I'll go ahead and do that. And we'll re-roll. And I also need to roll a d6. And if I roll less than my HP, which I did, the bow gets put in my pack instead of discarding. So it is at least in the pack still. And now I've got a total of 6 damage, ignoring all of its defense, meaning it goes down to 2 HP. Now knowing that about the Hajmoda, I'm not too keen on attacking it again this turn. I don't really want to overtax my weapons. I guess we could use our Breton's Opportunist ability to overtax and put it into our pack, and then exchanging that with the staff that we have in our pack. But I also kind of just want to get a big attack on it with a companion or something that will take care of it. But that's going to be kind of hard with 3 defense. So yeah, I think we actually are going to take care of it with our Breton. We will go ahead and move 2 spaces and engage the Hajmoda. We'll roll our 2 Force Shocks and a Power Stone using our Lightning Staff. And when we overtax, we get to set any skill dice to the sides of our choice. So I guess we really didn't need to roll the Power Stone if we were going to do that. So we do need to make sure both of these are on the 4 damage side in order to defeat it. And then we'll need 2 of our adventurers to take 1 damage each. So we will have the Nord take 1 damage, and we will have the Wood Elf take 1 damage. But that will defeat the Hajmoda, meaning that the Breton will get to remove an over fatigue because of Dragon Blood, and we will gain another resistance token. Now we go to the Nord, who is only going to be able to move up, but that's okay. We've got a lot of fatigue we're trying to get rid of right now. And now our companions will activate. We will have BotSE attack the Mud Crab. There we go. He's warming up to the idea of being on our team now. That defeats the Mud Crab. And then we will move the Horver onto Hex B. It is our companion. So at the end of this round, we will then continue on to the next day and see what the next setup is like. We don't need to move our other people. They can't really move forward any, so they're just going to hang back there. And we will end the turn. We now get to go to day 2. And now with the inner sanctum revealed and Deslandra showing herself, we have our final setup for the endgame. But we are going to stop the video here, and we will take out Deslandra next time. This has been Solo Party. My name is Kane. Thanks for watching.